look in the mirror, and life is you versus you, and one of you fuckers need to die right now. Okay? So you can't fill your cup, okay, if it's already full. So you have to empty it. You have to empty it all the time. Just keep emptying it. That means you're going to learn more, right? So tapping into the quantum field is real simple. It's not easy. You have to sit in the deepest, darkest secrets that you have, and you have to sit in it.
Today on Make Yourself at Home, we have Craig Sotkovsky. And Craig has got an amazing story that I have been so looking forward to hearing. He is an inspirational speaker, a real estate investor, but Craig also volunteered during 9/11, doing the whole cleanup. He is a cancer survivor and just an amazing, he teaches mindset, behaviors, business principles to audiences worldwide. And we are so looking forward to learning from him today. Welcome, Craig. Thank you so much for joining us, and make yourself at home.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate the intro.
Craig, you talk a lot about your background, and we were talking just for a little bit about how you grew up. And being a kid of the 70s and the 80s, we have a different mindset that we come from. But you talk about mental frameworks and how that drives your performance. Can you give us a little bit about, tell us a little bit about you, and tell us what made you get into mindset practice?
Ever since I was a little kid, like I was talking to you before, I grew up at a dead-end street in North Bergen, New Jersey, up until I was like 6 years old. And above that was Hudson County Park. And back then, at 6 years old, I was going to the park by myself or with my siblings or my friends or whatever. And we used to play cowboys and Indians. We used to make forts and all of this crazy stuff when we were kids. So we were literally free. We would just be wandering, be home by when the lights got turned on or whatever, right? The street lights. And I've lived my life. I'm 60 years old. I've lived my life that way. And I've crafted an environment mentally in here to be able to do it. And ever since I was a little kid, I've always looked at life different. I remember when I found out, I was really proud when I found out that my mom's side is a Sanford and Rita. But I found out that they called them swamp Yankees. So it was like when they came over on the boats back in the day, they hooked up with the Indians and they had these half mixed children. That's why they call them swamp Yankees. And I was like, oh my God, we're part Indian. We're probably this much Indian, right? And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I could be in a forest and relive my life. All that craziness, right? My life has been like that. And I was a 9/11 responded to the World Trade Center, and I ended up getting lung cancer. And to this day, it's been a 13-year battle. There are issues that I still have. However, that being said, what I started to do was study epigenetics. I've been able to have crazy experiences living in Hawaii, living in the bush of Jamaica with somebody that was savant. And he taught me, my buddy Louis taught me what the mind actually does and how you can tap into the subconscious behavior and just lift yourself out of whatever hole that you're in. And I found myself in a lot of holes over the years, man, especially in real estate investing, right? So we were the first online repository of owner finance and lease purchase properties in the world in 2005, 6. Can't really even remember. It was called OFRE, Owners Financing Real Estate. And I learned through being a real estate investor in Fort Pierce, Florida. We got hit with 2 hurricanes in 3 weeks. And we had at the time, we had a 30-door portfolio. We were doing really well. And I learned about cons, frauds, and ripoffs in the insurance industry and the banking industry, just dealing with the insurance companies. And I figured if that is the way the world actually works, what does this do? I started tapping in again and again into something we call the quantum field. It's this thing that we have inside of us. It's called the reticular activating system. Everybody has it. So what it is, the reticular activating system wants to please you. It's all it's designed for. Our brain does not know the difference between fantasy and reality. It has no difference in time. So if I know who you are, I could actually recall something in your psyche that you really don't want recalled, and I could bring that same emotion to you, okay, that the incident that you had could be 20, 30 years. If your biochemistry hasn't changed from that emotional attachment, I could bring it back and have you actually feeling the emotion of that event. Or I could help you get out of that emotional event. And people find it hard to believe that we have the ability to do. So I bring this practice into my coaching as well as in my real estate practices. Now, I'm a guy, I've lost everything multiple times in my life. I'd go to Jamaica and I have to come back because I'm doing some kind of closing, right? And it's gotten to a point in my life, like I said, I live in Merida, Mexico, and real estate down here is amazing. Same as it is in the United States, always is, right? And I've been able to go back and forth from wherever I lived, being on the balls of my ass, come back and start flipping contracts again. And then lose all of that because I'm the type of guy that, like, when cancer came, I didn't have enough steaks in the freezer. And we just came back from Mexico and it wiped us out again. And I was getting treated and the payments were already being made for my treatments. And we still got wiped out because it's an everyday living expense. We have always lived, my ex and I lived like we always had real estate. It was a mindset. It's a designed mindset, right? And I believe this is the only real estate that we can own because this is it. Everything else is a contract. So I teach contracts through the mindset. And it's going to be, how are your sales going to be based on your mental capacity to see how much you could take? How much bullshit can you really take? In the real estate industry, you got to worry about everything. And if your life has just been given to you, like most people have nowadays, you're going to have a harder life. Then if you have a hard life, it's going to be easier. I've lost everything multiple times, and it means nothing to me because I don't have cancer. And this is nothing to a giant. That's just my mindset. And most people are looking for all this external validation to make themselves peaceful or joyful or happy, when it's actually the reverse, right? Everything is inside of us. We're in our heads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and everything else is an attachment, right? I taught my daughter, if you remember back in the day, it was called jingle mail. I can't even tell you how many times I sent the keys back to the bank for the houses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's how I started. I started in 2008. So I had to learn really quickly. And I was telling you, here in Charlotte, we're the last ones in and the first ones out. But I sat with over 3 dozen families, or almost 3 dozen families, and saved them, got them out from under homes that they couldn't afford, and was able to sell the home so they could move to a different place. But we teach our boys, and our boys are all in their 20s. We teach our boys all the time. You can figure it out. If you can figure it out, you can do anything. Anything.
You can see it. You can see it. You can walk a parallel life in it.
Exactly.
Like for me, people are like, oh, you're 60 years old. You should be slowing down. I'm more ambitious than I am when I was at 20. And I was really ambitious when I was 20. Now it's pure humbleness and wisdom, because I can't even tell you how many contracts I've had. Hundreds. We be buying stuff. When I say buy, I know you can't actually own real estate in the United States. All right, everything's a contractual obligation with a fiduciary responsibility. I always loved the creative side. I love the people holding paper or going to the millionaires. And this is something that's really important. And most people aren't paying attention to this. I just designed another course called Old School Real Estate. And it's got nothing to do with being online. It's got to do with actually going to the courthouse, because we used to create the list and sell them because we went to the courthouses. Nobody wants to do that anymore. Everybody wants to be online quick. I want to make $9 million in 45 minutes, right? And then, oh, I thought all the money was going to save me. No, it just amplifies who you are. So I show people to actually create the real estate life. Go for a ride 2 hours outside your city. Go to rural communities, right? Look at the local newspapers, those little county newspapers. Those got the best deals in them because the old timers aren't online. So you call them up. What do you mean you call them up? You can't send them an email? Yeah. Yeah. No, nobody wants the kids nowadays. I listen to kids bitch and complain. I can't afford a house. I can't move. You got internet. You got Skylink or whatever it is, right? Move to a rural property, man. Enjoy your life. Like, how can I enjoy my life? But then I also have to look at my life. That's how I enjoy my life. I like being at peace. I like being by myself. And that's not being lonely. There's a big difference. I was lonely when I was with somebody. Now, being alone is something different.
Oh, yeah, completely. You have to like who you are, because guess what? Everywhere you go, there you are. Our oldest just signed his first contract. We just got him under his first, him and his girl are actually buying their first house. And for 5 years, I had to listen to this child go, I'm never going to be able to afford a house. I'm never going to be able to afford a house. I'm like, shush. Yes, you will. I'm like, we were paying 11, 12% interest. He goes, yeah, but your house was only $100,000. I'm like, I love you, but you're making the money we made in our 30s. We had to work for 20 years to get to where you're at. And you're
sweat equity.
You got there in 7. You're there. But yes, and all of our boys, they chose not to go to college. They have chosen to do trades and to do other things.
That's one of the best things ever.
Fantastic, you know, because it worked for them. Not everybody's built for school. And our 4...
No, but they are built for school because they went to school. See, it's that mental attachment of what people are going to say if I don't do it the popular way. Walk away from the popular way, man. Do the opposite. Do the opposite of what everybody does.
And we've always taught them that you'll be able to do it. Whether you can or you can't is all up to you. It's how you put it. And so it took me 5 years of going, you need to quit that. I don't want to hear can't anymore. Because my oldest, they've had tastes of me. They didn't grow up with me. My husband and I just got married this past year. So they've had tastes of me. Now they get to actually see how I work. So my younger 2, they are the ones that I'm like, I don't want to hear the word can't. Because can't is truly just you stopping yourself. And you are the one who has to do it. Yeah. So how... Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, please.
No, there's like a little delay. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. How do you teach people the same things? Is there a different way? Because, like I said, I've taught them can and can't is all in their own hands, in their own minds. How do you teach that?
Through the quantum field, right? And people are like, what is the quantum field? Okay, the quantum field is the exact same thing where you get your Wi-Fi bill, where you're paying for your cell service, okay? It's in the airwaves, and they've dialed into a frequency to be able to grab that and send you a bill for it, okay? That's it. There's no lines anymore, right? It's all out here. Humans are all out here as well. And once they tap into it, it's called epigenetics, heart and brain coherence, okay? Most people believe that this is the brain, that this is the operating system, and it's not. The heart is the brain. The heart is the seat of the soul, right? I don't believe we're light-seeking the human experience. So when you have heart and brain coherence, you've dialed into that frequency, and you have the ability now to have creative energy, and your vibration gets sent out differently. So it's how do you learn? Through the reticular activating system. All it wants to do is please you. So what you said, if you believe you can or you can't, you're right, 100%, right? So what I do is I help people, especially in sales, right? Because what we used to do back in the day, just to get over our fear of sales, we used to open up the yellow pages, right, or the white pages, and just start making phone calls during lunch or during dinner time. And people would be like, why are you calling me? What? No. So you get onto all of these no's and get used to it. Now you start making your calls in your industry. And this way you're able to take it, right? So it's all about what you can mentally take. So what I do is I teach people about epigenetics through subconscious behavior. Because everything, our conscious thought, when we're like, oh, I'm thinking about this, that's 5% of your behavior during the day. 95% of everything that you do is habitual. It's your habits, it's your pre-programmed recordings. Because when we're born, what happens? We come out kicking and screaming. But first, we need a smack in the ass to get our first breath. Why do we think life is going to be any different? You got to fight, man. You have to fight for this. So when you start honing in yourself, right? When you start understanding from 0 to 8 years old, the Jesuits used to say, show me the child and I'll show you the adult, because it's 100% correct. We are children in adult bodies. So if we haven't alchemized all the nasty stuff that we've been through, we're never going to change. We're going to be that child in an adult body. I've been able to master myself through cancer. I believe being an entrepreneur my whole life helped me battle cancer. Beating cancer has made me a better entrepreneur because I know what I could take. I lost everything this year. Through a hack. I lost my 9/11 book. I lost a cartoon, my script, 25,000 email list, like 22,000 emails. And when I found out I lost, I immediately hung up the phone from the attorney and I just started laughing. And I was like, this is nothing to a giant and I don't have cancer. And I've been able to develop that mindset to not have external validation. Most people are looking externally for the validation. Oh, D, oh, you're great. Yay, yay. Or when you go get something, it immediately makes you satisfied, right? For 10 minutes. Because humans want that external validation. When you have internal validation for yourself, all of those wins that you have, those are just expected. Because we've conquered our mindset. We've gotten over, like I had to get over being molested as a kid, drug addiction, bankruptcies, losing houses, cars. Like like we said before, jingle mail. I used to, my next door neighbor one time, right? I put 100, this was in mid 2000, right? It was before I moved to Mexico the first time. And it was the housing crisis and there was hundreds of thousands of houses and it was just, I had a house that I put 100 grand cash in as a contractor. We had everything in it, right? My next door neighbor sold his house for half the price. I looked at my ex and I was like, we got to go. Here's the keys. Bye-bye. Wait, you have all of this equity? No, we don't. He just sold his house for half the amount. That's gone, man. That, you know what I mean? That's the comp. Our next door neighbor, similar house, everything. That's the comp. Goodbye. Went to Mexico. And I figured I'd wait it out. We used to teach people how to buy houses with credit cards, and people like, oh, it's 18, 19%. It's credit cards now, 30%. I'll still whack them to buy houses if I'm making 80%. It's what you can take. It is. It's what you can take in this world. And the more that you can take is the more you can dish out. But you have to develop thick skin for yourself, and you have to have an unrelenting mindset. You have to have a mindset of resiliency. You got to bounce back from everything.
You talk about the reticular activating system, and I think most people don't
Reticular activating system.
Yeah. I don't think most people know what that is. So
we are designed, right? Fight, flight, and freeze. All right? So we're designed to be comfortable. We're designed to be afraid. Right? But we also have the chemistry set within inside of us that could change that. Instead of the cortisol and adrenaline, tap into the oxytocin and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals. Why would you, if we're light-seeking a human experience, okay, it's just my belief, whatever anybody believes, it's on their own, why not be the brightest light? Why not? You know, I'm on podcasts all over the world, and I still laugh. I'm like, I'm all over the world. I don't even have to leave my living room. We have the opportunity of being whatever it is that we want. As long as we want it or have to have it. There's a lot of have to haves that I need right now. And going shopping in the United States, like I've already plotted out my course for where I'm going after creative finance projects in the United States. And it was, and I'll tell everybody, people are missing great opportunities around private airports. There's so many private airports around the United States right now, and the real estate is dirt cheap. And I'm talking about like within 20, 30 minutes of private airports, rural communities. That's exactly what I'm targeting right now. That's where the community development block grants, when they reinstall all the community development block grants and all the government funding or whatever, they're eventually going to do that. Why not go get a local county newspaper and call up Al, the multi-millionaire that guaranteed has some kind of liability that he'll hold paper on, probably without even a deposit. And people are like, oh, that doesn't happen. It used to happen to me all the time because I made it happen. But that's how I got infamous back in the day. Back in the day, we used to have this guy Carlton Sheets.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I
remember that. My mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law's husband bought one and did that whole thing. I remember. I
had his whole crew in my living room.
Oh, wow.
A couple months or a couple weeks, a couple months after the hurricanes of 2004.
Yeah.
It was like, and it was hysterical because I was actually filming them, filming me. Look, everything is about creative financing nowadays. Everything is, because most of these kids can't afford it.
Yeah.
However, that being said, some of these kids are making millions of dollars online, right? Mm-hmm. And they're thinking that's going to satisfy their life. And it actually makes them miserable because now they don't understand who's actually wants them to be their friend instead of what they have.
Exactly.
So everything is a mindset. And like I said before, this is the only real estate you can own, so you might as well live in a mansion. Yeah. I live in a mansion every day. I got a little spot in Merida, Mexico that I rent. Doesn't even make any sense to buy it because it's so cheap to rent it.
Yeah. I tell Mike, we talk about it all the time, is people ask, how are you doing? And you'll hear them, oh, we just had to deal with this, that, and the other. I'm like, look, I'm above ground and breathing. I started on the positive side today. Everything goes up from there.
How about asking a different question, right? Okay. To eliminate all the bullshit.
Yeah.
What was the best part of your day?
Today,
you just eliminated all the nonsense.
Yeah.
You just eliminated. So it's instead of how you doing, hey, what was the best part of your day? Because number one, they're going to have a recall for the best part of their day.
That's awesome.
And it's going to bring an amazing experience because you asked. And number two, they got to brag about what was their amazing experience.
Yeah.
Because humans are very funny, right? Human behavior is hysterical to me because all you have to do, hey, Dee, how's your life? Sit back and listen. Dee's going to tell me everything about her life.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things. Like, I give everybody 15 minutes. And I have friends in this industry like, yo, that's a waste of time. I'm like, no, it's not. To you it is, right?
Yeah.
To you because you didn't beat cancer. But for me, I want to know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
There's nothing nowhere on my site where you could buy anything. You can't put a credit card, you can't put a MasterCard, none of that. Because everything that I do is one-on-one.
Yeah.
Everything I do is one-on-one. So I want to know who I'm dealing with. And people are like, oh, that's a waste of time. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know who has a hotel to sell, who has a grandfather that wants to get rid of all his properties, who has. I want to know everybody.
Yeah, because that's what all of this is, relationships. So when you get to know somebody and you get to take time to learn who they are, then you get to know what motivates them, or you get to know. I truly do believe that we are all, I guess you go back to the avatar, the whole tree, we're all connected. We're connected to the tree. We're all holding hands. It may not be kumbaya or anything like that. We are all connected. And we're all connected. Yeah. How do you help the next person? How do you help the person next to you? And it may not be monetarily. It may be monetarily, but how do you create changes? When we talk to our family or other people, whenever we go on vacation, I always say, what was the best part of the vacation? What do you remember from this? What's the experience that you take away? Because my kids are in their 20s. Now, who needs any more crap? I want experiences. I want the day that I quit breathing, they can say, my mom taught me this. I was able, and they can pass it on to their kids, or they can pass it on to their spouse, or they can pass it. And that's the thing, is how do we pass on to one another?
Yes, exactly. When I was, I should have been dead a long time ago, multiple times. Okay, this 9/11 battle has been ferocious. I used to lay in bed for weeks, months at a time, and think that I was just worthless. I had such imposter syndrome. I used to be like, did you really speak at hotels and convention centers? And I can't even pay the light bill. It's what I was expected to earn when I was battling lung cancer. They took my mid and lower lobe, my right lung out. I was in furious pain for 6 years, like the most excruciating pain where morphine, Dilaudid, that Perkin did nothing. So I needed to study and tap into epigenetics. And I'll give you an example of how my life changed. I went in for a doctor's visit, and they did the x-ray and stuff in the 9/11 community. And the doctor came out and she was like, hey, have you ever had a bad x-ray? And I was like, she's going to tell me I'm going to be dead by Tuesday. I've heard this stuff so many times, right? And then I was like, you know what? Whatever she says, it's not going to change how I feel. It's not going to change my smile. It's not going to change my emotional attachments to anything because I don't have any anymore. And come to find out, she didn't even have my paperwork. So she saw this big cloud and was like, oh, this guy's got cancer. No, that's where my mid and lower lung was. They took it out. That changed my life forever because I knew at that time, studying epigenetics, right? I didn't change my biochemistry. You have to be able to change your emotional attachment to past circumstances and events. Once you do that, this game of life changes tremendously.
Not a lot of people have experienced that, though. All right.
Yeah, but that being said, I did a lot of psychedelics. Lots of psychedelics, okay? And no, I'm dead serious because I did over 300 rounds of dimethyltryptamine. And that alone is mind-altering to me. It really is. Because I needed to get out of the headspace. I needed to understand who I was. And this was before cancer. So I was mentally prepared. But I just didn't know it. All of this is hindsight. All of it's hindsight. And that's why I say this is the only real estate we could own.
A lot of people so unless you've had a history, and I've got history, lots of people do, right? We all deal with this, but unless you've had a history where you've had something traumatic happen, and you were speaking earlier that you can, if somebody still has that draw, that you can put them right back in that situation and you can feel that emotion. And I've had that
Absolutely.
in my life. I've had that where while I know I'm physically someplace else, I'm back at August 30th of 2008, and I can put myself directly in that spot. And I know exactly what happens that day and how it plays out. But most people don't have that. Most people, they're floating through life and they don't know how to tap into. They hear Tony Robbins or they hear all these other people and it sounds pie in the sky. You talk about,
but it's not.
That's what I'm.
But it's not. It's work.
How?
It's sweat equity.
How?
It's sweat equity.
What is something that they can do to tap into the quantum field, or how can they learn, or is there a practice that they can do to get them to start seeing that?
Yes. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Okay. No, I'm dead serious. Look in the mirror. And life is you versus you, and one of you fuckers need to die right now. Okay? So you can't fill your cup, okay, if it's already full. So you have to empty it. You have to empty it all the time. Just keep emptying it. That means you're going to learn more, right? So tapping into the quantum field is real simple. It's not easy. You have to sit in the deepest, darkest secrets that you have, and you have to sit in it. And you have to alchemize. For the longest time, I was embarrassed about being molested as a kid. I helped thousands of men around the world. So is it a bad experience? Not anymore. I don't have an emotional attachment to it. I have zero emotional attachment. However, that being said, while I was growing up, I was in all kinds of crazy relationships that I didn't belong in because I just wanted to feel something other than the pain and misery, right? So people want to be comfortable in their pain and misery because that's the devil that they know. But it's the heaven in your head that you haven't figured out yet. And like I said, it's simple. All you have to do is shut up. Shut up. All right? Sit in silence. Oh, no, I have kids. I got that. Okay, that's all an external environment. That's an attachment that you have. You have to disconnect. Say, oh, I can't disconnect. My kid has soccer. My daughter's got this. My son's got that in school and all. Stop. Stop. How bad do you want it? Some people are like, oh, I don't know how to meditate. Whenever I close my eyes and I have all of these thoughts, good. That's meditating. Because what's going to happen in time, see, because people don't want to put the sweat equity into themselves, okay? All you need to do is do it consistently every day. And the more you do it consistently, the less thoughts you're going to have. Because all the chaos is out here, but we bring the chaos in here. And all our reticular activating system wants to do is please us. So if you're thinking about all this miserable positive positive toxicity? So we're thinking positive thoughts, right? Positive thoughts mean nothing. They don't mean that. You have to be positive. You have to become that person, right? So from point A to point B, it's the process. I hated the process. Okay? But in the process, it's the person you become ahead of B, the event. And you could do that. Simple. It's not easy. It requires work. You need to just shut up. You need to just stop.
That's been a struggle I've had. But hold on. You and I have a very similar background. I have molestation and trauma in my background. And it's not something that I'm tied to. It is something that I gave that up a long time ago. I forgave that person. They were in my life up until 2017. And it was one of those things that they were like, okay, you need to meditate. And I would sit there. I'd close my eyes. I'd fall asleep. Or I would sit there and then your brain keeps going and you keep thinking and then I would okay, then I'd think of black. Okay, I'll think of black. And that, again, I'm still thinking, but I'm at least trying to get me to stop. But I am one that somebody goes, you don't have to meditate for an hour every day. Stop trying to carve out these huge amount of time. You will then claim it when you get there. So it is one of those ones that I have sat where I start with, okay, 5 minutes. I can sit for 5 minutes. And even if my brain runs off, so what?
That's all you need.
Come back. 5 minutes.
That's all you need.
Yeah. And then just do it on a consistent
And 5 will turn to 10.
Correct.
I was meditating. I was tapping into the subconscious field for 8 hours, 10 hours a day, just to learn how to get rid of physical pain. Because my daughter and my daughter's mom used to be like, you're an asshole when you take drugs, man. Stop. I had to learn how to not be that guy. So it's, and this right here, this is an antenna. Right? People are like, oh, I think. No, you don't. You programmed.
And that's right? the last 8 years I have had, no, the last 2026. So it has been the last 8 years. Last 8 years, I have literally now gone through 12 surgeries in 8 years. And I deal with daily pain. I deal with every single day, wake up in pain. But even though I'm in pain, I don't have to be a pain. And so I choose to be who I am. I am a very happy person. It is very rare that you won't see me with a smile or a giggle or something along those lines, just because I know I've never had, praise God, I've never had cancer. I've never had to go through that, but I have been through a lot of other traumas. And I know that being a pain doesn't make anybody else, it doesn't make anybody else better, and it doesn't make me better. So if I do better by myself here, I know that I will be better, not only for myself, but for those around me. So you can...
You're external.
A rising tide will raise all boats, right? An external. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, but that's it. You realize, so you alchemize the pain, misery, and suffering that you had. This isn't one-upping, right? Because I got a buddy of mine who had 85 surgeries.
Correct.
I've had 30 surgeries and procedures
Yeah.
where they told me 4 different times that they were going to be treating me for cancer.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. Since 2017.
Wow.
Since 2017. And it's one of the reasons why I'm down here. And it's not about a wow factor. It's about, like, we all have these stories.
Yes.
And somebody's always worse off than us.
Correct.
I got a buddy of mine. He shows me how to stand up every day, and this dude doesn't have legs. This is the giant in my life. His name is Robert Kawa. He's a giant in my life.
Love that.
And the thing is, it's like when we really want to attack ourselves, we attack ourselves based off of subconscious programming. Okay. From 0 to 8 years old, all we're doing is listening, watching. Yeah, like when you have children, yes, and you hear about the terrible twos. Yeah. It's not the terrible twos. They're just now able to verbalize what you told them while they were 1.
Yeah.
Don't touch that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And then give me that. And the kids, no. No. If you don't teach your kids how to do basic sign language when they're young, yeah, they can't communicate. Yeah. We taught our daughter basic sign language, yep, when she was a kid. Yeah. That eliminated so much crying, whining, all of that stuff. She'd go like this. She's hungry. Correct. She'd go like this. She's ready to go to sleep. Yeah. She didn't have to scream. She didn't have to yell. My daughter used to sleep 12 hours a night. Yeah. 7 to 7. We did. I mean, it was like clockwork for years.
We did the same thing. My oldest is, he's on ASD. He's on the spectrum. And I literally took a juice bottle to the back of the head. And that's when we started signing juice, milk, all done. Anything to banana, ice cream, anything to help. Food, like you said, basic sign language, food, to help that. Because we, like you said, 0 to 8, all we do is listen. And then usually at 2, you finally can communicate, but you don't know how to communicate. So you have all of this emotion and no way to get it out. And so the little things make huge differences.
So that is adult human behavior. We got to go back to being children again. And people are like, oh, that's childish. No, it's not. I don't want to tap into the molestation part. It plays out the same way for the most part, right? You get into all these promiscuous relationships when you're young, and you go through all of this crazy lifestyle crap and all of that. It's a pattern because we didn't feel. For the longest time, I used to walk off a stage at Hotel Pennsylvania in New York City. I'd be doing a real estate conference, walk off, get all these accolades about finance, real estate, blah, 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 blah. And I used to think I was a piece of crap. I used to think I was less than, just because I didn't deal with being molested as a kid. I was writing my book. I have stuff all over my walls, all over my wall, notes and all kinds of stuff. And I use blue painter's tape, right? Just because it annoys me. So I know I got to get rid of that project real quick because it's got blue, and it's one of those signals for me. It's how I've trained myself, right? So it's like we have to go back to being cavemanish, cavewomanish. We have to slow it down because we're all looking, for the most part, all this external validation. And if you let's say something great happens for you, and you're like, oh my God. You're looking at external validation. I have great stuff happen to me every day. And it's, yeah, okay. Yeah. And I don't mean to be callous about it. It's just expected because my mindset is driven to only achieve wins. Because I used to have what I believed were losses. And they weren't losses, they were learning experiences.
There's no such thing because it's always a learning experience, just like you said. So
learning experience.
How do you get from, so we have to sit. We have to take the time. We have to slow down. We have to sit. Then where do we go for the mindset shift? How do we move to that? So now that we've slowed down and we're sitting in it and we're learning how to be uncomfortable, then what?
You have to be very uncomfortable in being uncomfortable.
Okay.
So that's where walk by faith, not by sight.
Okay.
That's where you tap into you, to God within, light seeking a human experience.
Okay.
So subconscious behavior, what we're doing right now, we're verbalizing through our conscious thought.
Correct.
Okay. So if I do stuff like this as I'm talking, can you hear that?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. As I'm talking, this is called the Silver method, and it's at a different frequency. So when you're listening, and this is all free, you can go on YouTube and listen to Jose Silver. And as he's teaching, he understands that what he's doing is going into your subconscious behavior. So what you're doing is you're creating a new foundation for yourself, right?
Okay.
As you're listening to my voice, because you're amazing. You've always done amazing things. You've been amazing your whole life. You have greatness within. That's from, I actually got mentored by Les Brown. I became a Power Voice speaker for him. And one of the things that really people need to understand is all the shit on your external world, all the things that are bothering you, you have attachments to. You need to eliminate, and you can actually, and this is going to sound really callous, right? You have to have detachment to your children as well.
Okay.
And people are like, oh, no, I can't have a detachment. I didn't say don't love your kids. Don't be in love with your kids.
Yeah.
Just detach, because you're worrying about crap that 99% is never going to happen to them.
True.
So why are you going to constantly be in stress? And this is something crazy. Like,
yeah.
That's all we think about, are things that don't happen.
Correct.
And all our reticular activating system wants to do is please us on creating the things that are never going to happen. We're thinking about them all the time. What's going to happen is your reticular activating system is going to put you in situations that are miserable, because that's what you want, because you're consistently thinking about it.
That's what I was wondering.
Positivity is not working.
That's what I was wondering about. So I had been introduced to the reticular activating system a long time ago, and I want to make sure that the people that are listening, that it's not like a lot of times people will say, okay, you're wanting to buy a new car. And so you go and you look at a white car, and now all of a sudden you see nothing but white cars where you never saw them before.
Yes.
It's because your reticular activating
now you're made aware of them.
Has become aware. So the thing, what is it? The Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Doing that kind of thing doesn't get you anywhere, because you don't believe it.
Okay, no, it doesn't, until you fall asleep listening to that.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Because what happens is, now you're listening to these external validations, these external things, right? I am amazing, I am smart, I am rich, I am wealthy, I'm healthy, right? As you're falling asleep, now you're getting into a different state. Like, I'm able to put myself in a state, I can sleep 2 hours a night. People are like, oh, that's ridiculous. No, you can't. I was like, yeah, I can. I can put myself into a different state where I'm just attacking REM. That's it. That's all I need. And people are like, that's ridiculous. No, you can't. No, you can't. I can. Because it required work on my end. Lots of work.
Yeah.
Lots of work. Now, people are like, I don't have the time. Look, man, we all have 24 hours in a day.
Correct.
8 hours of sleep, right? 8 hours of work, supposedly. And then you have another 8 hours. What are you doing in those 8 hours? It's 2,920 hours of your life every year that you're wasting watching TV.
Correct.
Watching ball games. I'm not saying don't watch this stuff,
no.
But most people are watching 8 hours of TV a day, because TV is programmed. It's called television.
Yeah.
So it's like you're being programmed because they know how to tap into your frequency. Once you learn how to tap into your frequency, then your whole life changes. Right? In real estate, we don't close until we close.
Correct.
Why are you worrying about the closing? I understand. Like, I fell in love. I had to sell my farm twice in my life. I had a ranch in Wyoming that I had to get rid of, right? And then this last round, I needed to sell my farm in Georgia because I got divorced. I needed the cash to come to Mexico. And people are like, what do you do exactly? They buy houses, renovate them, or properties, improve them, right? I only need one a year.
Yeah.
I don't need to be the guy. My daughters always, listen, man, you'll drive your hoopty to your jet. Exactly. I don't need to be that guy that's going to teach, hey, you need 2,000 houses to be happy. No, man, 10 houses will change your life forever.
Yeah.
And most people are like, oh, I want to be a multimillionaire. Do you really? Do you know what it takes? I know what it takes, okay? I know what it's like to be a multimillionaire and sit in my house and be miserable. I know exactly what that is like. Most people, like, again, external validation. I got a buddy of mine, Thomas. He goes into Costco and stuff like that, right? You know, when you're buying stuff, you go, my God, you changed that biochemistry. It's like, oh, I got the feel-good chemicals going, right? He'll buy all non-perishables. He'll put it in the cart. He'll be like, oh, I wanted this coffee maker. Boom. Oh, wow, it feels so good. And then he'll go, oh, I need paper towel. I need a rug and all of that. And then once he got that, he just left the cart and walked out.
Yep.
Because it made him feel good. Yep. Now I got a buddy of mine, Kirk Ashley. He used to teach me all the time, if you're going to be miserable, skip. Go skip. You can't be miserable and skip.
No, because
so I used to teach my daughter in malls.
Yep.
Exactly. So I don't need external validation anymore. I don't care what anybody says about me because what they're saying is based off of their experience, not mine. Just not it.
We talked about getting into the quantum field, getting your reticular activating system, but you keep talking about epigenetics making your heart your brain. What I'm wondering
heart and brain coherence.
Yeah, getting them on the same field. And I know that that we were supposed to be talking about a whole bunch of different things, but I'm more interested in this, and I think that most people would be most interested in this. Is learning...
let's tap into real estate. Let's tap into real estate real quick.
Sure.
Real quick. Right?
Sure.
Right. So here's the thing: if you have tenants in one state, have your management company in another state, like Wyoming. So this way, when because tenants, I know my rights. Okay, sue me. Now you got to go to Wyoming to sue me.
Definitely a different
that's just
way.
That's just a quick dump. That's just a quick dump right there.
But some of the things that I was wondering about is we talk about learning to sit. Because most of us don't. Most of us do not sit still. I know I'm just as guilty as everybody else is learning to sit still and learning to be quiet. And I'm having to learn how to be uncomfortable. Most of the time, again, we're programmed to be
but the thing is, it's not being quiet.
Yeah.
It's not being quiet.
Okay.
It's shutting up.
How
okay? And it's a big difference. No, there's a big difference. It's a big difference because raw language is being taught right now all over the world. Okay? Because it's the extreme language that's actually going to permeate your subconscious behavior. Princeton, Harvard, Yale, they've been studying for the longest time when people say curse words, right? It usually offends people that are fucking other people over. It's usually offending people that are doing the worst things to other people because that's not how you act. So as soon as the person is like, oh, I'm offended, really? I want to tap into your life. What do you do to people, man? Yeah. I curse. I'm from New Jersey. I'm from 1985 New Jersey. Are you kidding me? I believe if you're not cursing, kicking, and screaming in this world, nothing's getting done. But that's just my belief.
Yeah.
That's how I was raised. Yeah. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
I don't find anything wrong with it at all. There's certain circumstances where it might not, I'm not going to go into a church and start cussing and stuff because it's just disrespectful to me, right? But when you're learning things, right? I had a buddy of mine, when I'm coaching, I'm a dictator, man. I'm a dictator because you're trying to learn or attempting, never use the word try. Never use the word try because you're actually doing something. And I catch myself all the time. I'm always learning something new. I never come to conclusions. Because if you come to a conclusion on anything, somebody can present you with new evidence and you might feel like an idiot because you don't want to do it because your ego and pride is there. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, think about medicine. Most of the time, it's like you go to see a doctor, they're practicing medicine. Why are they practicing? Because they never get the hang of it, and something always changes. And that's the way life is. Something's always changing. So if you don't learn to be flexible, and I live by the motto, blessed are the flexible, because blessed are the flexible. If you bend, then you won't break. And that's the thing, is you have to be able to go with the flow.
But you have to be rooted, right? You have to be rooted. You have to have strong roots. You have to recreate a foundation. So my company is from this point forward. From this point forward, if you're listening to me or seeing me, I have to leave you better than how I found you. That's my gift. I call it a blessed curse because that's my gift. My gift, I've been through so many humiliating, embarrassing experiences that would bring most people down on their knees. I laugh at that shit now. I laugh because I understood how ridiculous it was at the time. You might come up at the time of whatever incident is happening, you might do the most ridiculous crap ever. But logically, you thought logically that was going to be the best solution. Everything is hindsight. I look at my life now and it's like, all I have to do is speak. I don't even have to participate in crap anymore, other than speaking. I got thousands and thousands of stories of me being stupid. And if you can learn from the things that I've done in the past, I have zero emotional attachment. You can ask me anything about my life. It's not I'm not emotionally attached to who I used to be. I'm not even attached to who I am now. Because again, I don't come to conclusions. I believe once we realize that we're nothing, nothingness is an amazing experience.
Yeah. So like I said, once you've learned to shut up, to be able to tap into this, where's the next step for somebody to go? Like they're they're working on and moving themselves to a different place. So where is it that they reach in from shutting up to getting them to the shift that they want to be?
They call me, I charge them ridiculous amounts of money, and they move forward. So here's the thing. Everything that I'm talking about, okay, like you can find out on your own. Joe Dispenza, Epigenetics, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Baden, I think that's his last name. Jose Silva, though, man. Jose Silva, there's two things that I listen to every day religiously. Sometimes it depends, sometimes 4 or 5 hours. It depends on my day. Because I'm this guy, I'm jacked all the time. But I wake up and I'm like, I'm really glad. There was many times that I woke up where I wish I was dead because I was living in that cancer environment. I was living in the environment with people walking out of my life because I wasn't fun anymore. I was living in an environment where people walked out of my life because I was an asshole and I was hooked on so many different drugs. I have a picture from my next book that's coming out, and it was just the drugs that I remembered to hold on to the bottles, and I'm standing behind a pyramid of drugs. And the caption was like, yeah, what was it? Just say no to drugs unless it's theirs. And it was like, I've been through so many, unless it's theirs. And the thing is, people are like, oh my God, you've done so many drugs. No, man, it's called medicine, right? It's the reason why people are doing ketamine now under environments that are institutional environments. That's the reason why they're using mushrooms and LSD to help PTSD victims, because it goes through our neurotransmitters. We actually wire and fire again. That thing about your nerves, they'll come back. Yes, they do. I'm a prime example of that. I had the worst rib pain after my bilobectomy. They took 2 lobes of my lung out, okay? And when they did that, they went through my ribs and they cut all the nerves. So I ended up peripheral neuropathy. And people are like, what kind of pain was it? I was like, okay, if you lean against the sharp edge of a table, right? So you lean against the sharp edge, and so it's like this, right? You lean, and then you lift your arm up and lean in more. That was the pain for 6 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And people used to look at me and be like, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Then I still do, GERDs, Barrett's esophagus. I could be talking, eating, or drinking, and it doesn't matter where. My throat will just shut. And it's horrific pain. And I've had to learn how to alchemize that, because I know if somebody calls an ambulance, I'm in worse off than let me just go through my episode. So it's like you got to keep your shit together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's controlling your emotions, right? That's how you're going to become a better realtor. That's how you're going to become a better investor, because your emotions ain't going to be there anymore. Now it's just a transaction.
Craig?
That's all it is. You have to make transactions with yourself.
I have loved having you here. We didn't get to anything that I wanted to talk about, but this literally went exactly where it was supposed to go. And I greatly appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to learn more so I can be better. But I do really want to talk to you again, if that's possible, about the creative financing and the investing and everything. Yeah, I'll get together with...
Yeah, we didn't really tap into that,
I know,
right?
we didn't talk anything about it, but, you know, so if it's possible, if you'll let me, I would love for us to sit down and talk again about the investing piece, if you're willing to let me talk to you again.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. I do this all day long.
Yeah, this is awesome.
All day long.
I do this about once a week. Well, that's not true. I do it a little bit more than once a week because I do put videos out for other reasons, but the podcasting thing is new for me. Thank you so much.
Well, even if it's just a call.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a call.
I would love to, again, talk to you about the creative financing piece and investing and talk on those lists, because my whole thing was to try and make it consumer driven. I want people to be able to have somebody that they can listen to, because there's so much stuff for realtor to realtor and on coach to realtor, but there's not a lot for consumers. And so we're trying to give consumers bite-sized pieces that they can take in. And I do think that everybody needs to learn about how to control their mind, because it is, and I know nothing, but
yeah,
it's a place to start.
Sure, absolutely. You have to sit in it. Same thing with contracts.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your
appreciate
time.
it.
I know that there's been a lag here, and I'm so sorry. I'm not real sure if it's mine or you, or doesn't really
No,
matter.
that's okay.
But what we'll do is
Probably mine. I'm in Mexico.
we have all of your socials, all of this, your website and everything that they'll promote you. But again, thank you so much. You got me back on my track again.
I appreciate it, Dee. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on Make Yourself at Home. I hope you found insights and inspiration to help you navigate your real estate journey with confidence. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share this show with your friends, because everyone deserves to feel at home. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep making moves that matter.